Hi there, guys. I'm in Bishkek, the capital of Kyrgyzstan, and it's not the first time I'm here. I really like this city and this country. When I left it last time, I wrote on my blog that Kyrgyzstan is very good people living in very bad cities. Unfortunately, nothing changes. Of course, the people remain just as incredible and hospitable as they were, but the cities remain just as bad and dangerous and uncomfortable as they were too. But today I'm not going to only criticize it, because normally I would walk around Bishkek asking myself why there are so many problems here with parking, public transportation, and so on. But this video will be different. Of course, we'll still criticize Bishkek a little, because there are things to criticize here. Today we're going to see the wonderful nature of Kyrgyzstan. We will see the mountains, the magical lake of Issyk-Kul, and many other interesting things, so sit back and prepare to see the wonderful, amazing, and my very beloved Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan is clean mountain lakes, a terrible mess in the cities. They say Varlamov will find dirt everywhere. And what can you do about it? Preferably demolish it all. Beautiful yaks and terrible drivers. We're going to be hit by a car. Proud shepherds and refugees from Russia. I went to Russia to finish some business, and suddenly the news arrived. And here I am in Bishkek. Yurts that have not changed in centuries, and a new IT park. This is the first IT park in Central Asia. We're going to talk about all that today, but first, let's look at the capital of Kyrgyzstan, Bishkek. One of the main problems of Bishkek, which cannot be resolved quickly and easily, is modern construction. If we look at Bishkek, it's a typical Soviet city, with wide streets and, most importantly, with shade. Behind me is a typical street. There is an acacia and beautiful oaks here. Everything looks wonderful. Next to these oaks are the sidewalks, and the trees protect people on hot days, because in summer it's very hot here. It's a pleasure to walk on such streets. But if we now look at modern constructions, we will see huge buildings, one close to another. Instead of old 3- or 4-story houses, there are no plants. The construction is super dense, and it's very unpleasant to walk on the streets. Do you see the difference? This street is old and cozy, with shades from the trees, and that one is modern and has a completely different vibe. What can you do about it? In fact, it should all be demolished. But of course, that won't happen. And the next generations will not get Bishkek as amazing as it used to be. It's a typical example. There used to be trees here, and now there's a parking lot. They widened the road to have room for the cars, but not for the trees. Here are the new homes in the center. They put giant residential complexes there, without thinking about the environment at all. There's an ads apocalypse in Bishkek, an attack of the ads. In addition to billboards with advertisements, they begin to cover ordinary kiosks with ads too. Even the windows are covered. Look at it. Even the doors. Another example, an entrance to a store, all covered with advertising. What's more, they installed special constructions here. So when I walk down the street, instead of admiring the bushes and flowers, I see some ugly buildings with advertising. The city now looks like a marketplace. Or to the last page of the newspaper with all the ads. Why would anyone do it in the center of Bishkek? So yes, something has to be done with the advertising, because it's too much. And that doesn't make the city look good. Remember what Bishkek was like before? In Soviet times, it was completely different. Where are the trees here? There were a lot of trees back then. These houses were not there. Was it better or not? It was way better. The city was green. Now these buildings make the city nice too, but I would like to see more trees. They say that in Russia there are two problems, fools and roads. Bishkek also has two of them, houses and cars. Although electric transport was preserved in Bishkek, trolleybuses run here. The main transport is minibuses. There is a bunch of minibuses. They stop wherever they want. They go in an infinite stream. It's a nightmare. Remember guys, a normal city doesn't need minibuses. I mean, you can still have minibuses, but they should operate on less busy routes. And they must be included in a single transportation system for all the rules to be applied, for a single pass to work on them. While here the minibuses hunt passengers like we're in Africa, right in the middle of the city. It's a nightmare and it's unacceptable. But the problem is not only that Bishkek remains. Oh, the minibus stopped right here when we're filming. And people are getting off. There's nothing happening here. You can pass. But the problem is not only that Bishkek remains, unfortunately for me, a very dangerous city, because it's hard for pedestrians here. On one hand, they have issues with the barrier-free environment. On the other, you cannot cross the street and stay safe. For example, here we see a pedestrian crossing without a traffic light across 5 lanes. There is chaos everywhere, and you have to cross in a way that they notice you and stop. Of course, it's unacceptable. In places like this, there should be a traffic light, and the crossing must be organized in a safe manner. They keep crossing, and these cars are scary because of their speed, and they seem to be everywhere. How can you cross such a busy street? Thanks to some cars that give way, but it's clear that pedestrians don't feel comfortable. We see a very typical image. No, wait, atypical one. An old minibus. It's an ambulance. But I wanted to say about these bus stops. Public transport stops are all covered with advertising. One is entirely for KFC. Another one is for some smartphones. People literally fall off these stops. They don't fit here. They end up on the road. The trolleybus cannot get any closer because there is a chaotic car park there. It shouldn't be like that. The interesting thing is that I just met a guy here who came from the Russian city of Krasnodar. He studied there, but then he left for 6 years. He told me that the city changed a lot because they repaired the roads. It's true, the asphalt is great here. I'm going to be hit by a car here. Well, as for the asphalt, it is incredible. It's very smooth, but it's not what they should have started with. It's a question of priorities. They made wide and smooth streets that are good for cars, of course. But again, in terms of sidewalks, infrastructure for pedestrians, a barrier-free environment, and public transportation, everything is in a very bad state. If I started to transform a city, I would think first about the pedestrians, because most of people in Bishkek get around on foot. They don't have their own cars. Surprising, right? Furthermore, the most vulnerable groups are usually the ones that walk: elderly women, children, sick people, those who cannot afford to travel by car. For these people, a barrier-free environment must be created. And think about the cars. Another thing, they've managed to install a huge billboard here, but not a traffic light for pedestrians. I, as a pedestrian, must check the car's traffic light, which is all the way there to know when I could cross the street. It seems like they don't think about people at all. The priorities are very clear. When so much attention is devoted to advertising, it is nice and well maintained, right? But pedestrian infrastructure is so disgusting that it's hard to believe it's real. Look at the stairs that lead to the shop. To get to the shop, you have to climb up the stairs. Some of them are half destroyed. Some are metal, others are cement. Everything is crooked. If they devoted the same attention they devote to ads, to the stops and sidewalks, Bishkek would be the best city on earth. Unfortunately, they have different priorities. Automobiles, advertising, money, malls, new residential complexes, all these things. And thinking about the people and how the city looks is not their priority. As for paid parkings, you will also see some paid parking lots in Bishkek. I'm not sure if they're regulated and if anyone actually pays for them, but at least there's a sign here. Well, of course, There must be paid parking in the city center. I understand that people might be outraged. Why paid parking? Well, that's why. This is obviously an abandoned car, all dirty with flat tires, and it's been there for a long time. It is clear that the driver does not pay for anything, and nobody finds him. The tow truck won't take his car away, so basically the guy is illegally occupied a very expensive piece of land in the city center. The land is very expensive here, and he just parked his car. A question: how can a person leave his rusty, dirty bucket here for free? Why isn't he charged for this? They give 10 to 20 square meters to each resident. Some might put a garage here. Someone might build a small house, and the whole street will turn into slums. So the logic is that a car can rent a land for free, and if a person without a car wants to build a cabin here, or I don't know, they will kick them out. Like, what are you doing? Of course, this land belongs to the city, but we give free land to the drivers. Well, it's not the main thing about paid parking, but charging for parking helps to impose some kind of order. Because now the city is full of parked cars, trees are cut down for parking lots. They remove lawns. And instead of admiring the city, you get to look at all these cars parked literally everywhere. A traditional evening traffic jam. Although Bishkek is a relatively small city, it's often full of traffic because public transportations are not developed. So there's practically no other way to get around. If you want to go somewhere, you have to take your car or order a taxi. Can I take a photo with you? Hi, sure. I was just speaking about traffic in the evenings. Are you recording a video? Yeah. Hello. Hello, do you live here? No, I just got stuck in traffic. Got stuck in traffic and waiting? No, my dad is waiting, not me. Ah, well, how old are you? 13. 13 years? Yeah. What do you want to do when you grow up? To spend my father's money. And then my grandfather's. Your grandfather's money, I see. Or his money first. Will you stay here or do you want to go somewhere else? I want to leave. Where to? Wherever I can. Okay, bye. Back to the traffic jam. Well, since my cars are old, especially the minibuses that won't work as public transport, there's a fog from combustion gases. You literally can't breathe here. And this is very sad. The ecology of Bishkek is a disgrace. If you prefer to ride a bicycle instead of a car, it won't be easy for you to be in Bishkek either. Watch out. A cyclist is going to hit you. I wanted to take a photo with you. Can I? Sure. I was just saying that making a bike lane on a sidewalk is wrong. Of course it's wrong. How is bike infrastructure here? Well, it's dangerous. Dangerous? People walk on bike lanes. Well, they must erase this line because placing a bike lane in the middle of the street is basically not caring about pedestrians. It's awful. With roads so wide, good bike lanes could be made on the sides of the road. A separate lane can be placed there. There's enough space. There are 3 traffic lanes in one direction. One lane can easily be turned into a bike lane. Another lane could be turned into a public transport lane, and only one would be left for the cars. It will be enough for them. Yes, hello. All is good, yes? How are you doing? Good, all good. I watch your videos. That's why I recognized you immediately. Do you guard the embassy? Yeah. Everything's fine? Yes, everything's fine. You can't walk comfortably and safely everywhere in the city. Unfortunately, it often happens that the asphalt and smooth roads end when the street ends. Here's the entrance to the yard, and you can see that since the fall of the USSR, no one's been taking care of this yard. Well, they poured dirt and gravel here. They turned it into a parking lot. It is literally the city center just 100 meters away from the administrative buildings and from the central square. Look at the yard in the city center. It is very sad that no one takes care of it, or does not have the opportunity to do so. Trash cans, an infinite parking lot, dust, dirt. Yards should not look like this. In the comments, they will say that Varlamov looked for that dirt. No, I just walked to the post office downtown and I was surprised that the yard here is so neglected. But what the Kyrgyz are good at is doing business. They are willing to turn anything into a business. It's so cute. At the entrance to a pet store, it says that it costs 10 soms to see the animals. Or one would say, what to see there? They have a large selection of aquarium fish, and children come and watch them. just like that without buying anything. So to get rid of curious children, they started charging visitors for watching fish. We can afford to watch the fish. Despite Bishkek's issues, thousands of Russian migrants moved here earlier this year. Some moved in March, others after the mobilization announcement in September. Well, there's not as many Russians here as in Kazakhstan and Georgia. First, because our countries do not share a border. Second, because few know what a wonderful country this is. But at some point, hotels and rental apartments in Bishkek were full of Russian immigrants. Thousands of Russians came here in the last year. We don't have the exact numbers. They started migrating especially after the announcement of the mobilization. At the end of September, beginning of October, many Russian people came here. And now, while walking in Bishkek and other cities, you see a lot of Russian faces. People come from St. Petersburg, Moscow, and other cities. They line up for accommodation because all apartments and hostels are full. It's hard to imagine. As a big fan of Kyrgyzstan and something of an expert on this country, I can list all the advantages and disadvantages of moving here. First, the advantages. Everything here is cheap. Prices are 3 or 4 times lower than in Moscow. Rent, food, taxi, everything costs very little. Second, the nature here is spectacular. It is really unique, especially if you like mountains and mountain lakes. You can go for a walk, hike, or simply run in the mountains. Plus, it's pretty easy to do business here. After the start of the war, local authorities understood that not only could they send their people to work in Russia, they could also have Russians working here, paying taxes, and spending their money here as well. That is why they introduced different mitigations, and even introduced the digital nomad visa. Yes, it sounds very interesting. I'll tell you more about that a little later. And now the disadvantages. Yes, there are also disadvantages. In terms of urban planning and city infrastructure, in all the cities of the beautiful Kyrgyzstan, there's area for improvement. The cool thing is that Kyrgyzstan is a democratic country. Unlike other countries in Central Asia, there is no leader who occupies his throne, like in Tajikistan and Turkmenistan, where they hold tight to the power. Here, presidents change all the time. The authorities really fear the people, and there is a possibility if you want to live here to build your future in Kyrgyzstan. Here, there really is a possibility of changing your environment and the authorities. The freedom that is so lacking in Russia. Tell me how you ended up here. I bought tickets for the bus to Petropavlovsk. From there, I went by bus to Astana. From there, by night train to Chu. And from there, by taxi to the border with Bishkek. I left on the 23rd and arrived on the 25th. There was no problem at the border. Everything was very simple. The customs officers asked us to show our passports and military service records. They briefly looked at the documents, and we went through the passport control, and that's it. Nobody asked questions. Hello, I'm Dima. Well, it turns out that now I'm here too. How did you get here? And where are you from? I'm actually from Mexico. I'm passing here. I arrived in Russia to finish some pending tasks, and suddenly the news came out, and I left to Bishkek. I don't live anywhere now. I'm traveling the world, but in general, I'm from Moscow. How do you like Bishkek? Why did you choose Bishkek? Because there were flights here. The only place where you could get a ticket? How much did it cost you? 140,000 rubles. What day was it? September 24th. Was there a threat for you in Russia? Or you left just to be safe? Why did you decide to leave? It was more because of my ideological views. Well, I had a guide, the driver. He was from Kyrgyzstan, and he would always say, "Hello, I'm a driver. These 6 people are with me." We spent time with him. They asked me, "Are you coming with the driver?" I said yes, and that's it. They didn't ask any other questions. Thanks to that, I crossed the border without problems. The only question they asked me was whether I already received the letter, but I haven't received it. How much did you pay to get here? 10,000 rubles. With 10,000 rubles, you got from Yekaterinburg to Bishkek? Yeah, learn from him. How many people live in this hostel? There are 60 beds here, and it's full. Russians are, I think, about 15 to 20. And the others? The others are Hindus, Kazakhs. There were a couple of Japanese. There were some Dutch guys, too. It must be a tourist center. How much does the hostel cost? 600 sums a day. It's $4, right? Or $5? About $7, something like that.
Привет. Как вы здесь оказались?
Hello. How did you find yourselves here? Well, it was by accident. Aviasales, a search engine for plane tickets, helped us. Well, like that, we went where we could go. So you left after the start of the mobilization, just like many others? Why Bishkek? It was practically the only option left on the second day after the start of the mobilization. And it was not the most expensive one, too. I was more resourceful. I left in February. When I heard what Vladimir Putin told us on February 21st, I immediately bought a ticket for 6,000 rubles. Why Bishkek? Well, actually, I wanted to visit it for a long time. The mountains, the nature. So you bought a ticket for 6,000. Yes, I bought it for 6,000 rubles. Here's the only person who spent only 6,000 rubles on a ticket. Do you have a permit of stay here? No, not yet. You can stay here for 30 days without a permit. Then you have to get a temporary residence. But it's quite easy and cheap. You don't need any documents. I arrived earlier than the other guys, one day before them. I stayed in a hotel. I was choosing between a hostel for 400 rubles and Hyatt Hotel for 12,000 rubles. In a couple of days, everything was booked. I called all the numbers I could, and I found the apartment we were renting now. It was super expensive. How much was your rent? Now we pay $400 a week. 400 bucks a week? Well, we have no choice. And how good is the apartment? Well, not that good. It's like a one-star hotel room at a huge price. $400 a week? It's a 3-bedroom apartment in the center, but a lot of things just don't work here. There's no internet, no lock in the bathroom, an old 2-bedroom apartment, an old and tired apartment, a tired 2-bedroom apartment. I should also say that the people still treat us very good here. We found an option. We were not left homeless. I think that in Georgia or Kazakhstan, the situation is worse. And in Kyrgyzstan, it's not that bad. There are a lot of people from Russia here. Yes, a lot. There's a Telegram chat, welcome to Kyrgyzstan. There are 20,000 people there. 20,000 people? When I entered, there were 2,000 people. Some were there since the February war, and they've been here since February. And then more came in September. There were 2,000, and now there are 20,000. You have to understand that Kyrgyzstan is a very poor country. By GDP, the purchasing power parity per capita, the country is 5.5 times poorer than Russia, 4 times poorer than Belarus, and 3 times poorer than Armenia. The average salary in the country is 24,000 somas. It's $280. According to official data, the average salary in Russia is around $1,000. But poverty does not prevent Kyrgyz people from helping migrants. All the migrants from Russia I interviewed highlighted the kindness and hospitality of the Kyrgyz people. It's a cool city. I was surprised how friendly people are here. Everyone tries to help you. I honestly didn't expect it. I thought I was going to be left on my own. But people write to the chat all the time asking if you want to go somewhere. They propose to show something. Help you rent an apartment, avoiding scams. Can you still rent an apartment here? I thought all the apartments are already rented, even those still under construction. Yesterday I heard people talking about apartments for rent. I see the dynamics. I see like more places are appearing. Maybe the flow of immigrants from Russia has slowed down in the last days. Some Russians were even able to make ethnographic observations on their way to Kyrgyzstan. Behind me is a car, Honda Stepwagon. I got here in this car. It took us a little more than 2 days to arrive. We were 8 Kyrgyz guys and a Russian. On our way without any stops at night, I started to understand the Kyrgyz language a little, and the Kyrgyz culture. To put it briefly, first I understood that Kyrgyz people are serious guys. They don't like jokes, and we Russians like to joke around.
юморим и так далее, они шутку могут не понять просто.
Скажи, какую твою шутку они не поняли.
Я не шутил.
They
так, чтобы
simply
они не
don't get
поняли.
our
Я
jokes.
максимально тактичный
Tell me the
человек.
joke that they
Я
don't
чувствую
understand.
баланс, и
I didn't make
старался
jokes that wouldn't be
нести службу
understood.
максимально
I'm
лояльным
a polite
образом.
person myself.
Вот, но они парни
I
такие,
know how to
резкие,
balance.
четкие, не
I
как
tried not to
дистанция,
make jokes. I was as friendly to them as I
но
could.
помягче.
But they are tough guys. Not like the Dagestanis, of course. They are a little softer. I personally didn't notice Kyrgyz people being too serious, but they took serious the arrival of thousands of Russians. When all their hostels were filled with IT workers, they could take advantage of it. Kyrgyzstan decided to do it by opening a high-tech park. The high-tech park is a special tax regime which has special laws. We have a law on the high-tech parks. It was approved in 2011, and I must point out that it is the first park of its kind in Central Asia. Back then, the goal was to help the export-oriented sector, bring programmers out of the shadows, and I believe that we've achieved our goals, because at the time of this creation, there were basically no IT firms in Kyrgyzstan. They all worked secretly, so it was the first park. I believe that we fulfilled the designated tasks and objectives. At first, we started with 3 companies, the companies that believed in this idea. We followed the example of Belarus. We copied their law. We did not try to reinvent the wheel. We just tailored their law to our realities.
Что с мигрантами из России? Как обстоят дела?
And what about the migrants from Russia? How are the things going? Well, since the beginning of the year, or rather, since March, we received a large flow of enthusiasts arriving in Kyrgyzstan to work here. And since March, we have registered more than 50 companies. Our high-tech park, of course, more people arrived, but I meant those who decided to stay and check into the park.
Сколько платит резидент парка?
Because as I mentioned earlier, we offer tax benefits. What tax benefits? How much does the park residents pay? Tax benefits are similar to the other initiatives of many other countries. We offer tax preferences. Companies are exempt from income tax. In Kyrgyzstan, the income tax is 10%. Our residents don't pay it, so for them it's 0%. In addition, we eliminate VAT. In Kyrgyzstan, you would have to pay 12% VAT, but not here. The same applies to sales tax.
Что остается?
No income sales or VAT taxes. What's left? Also, there are also individual income taxes for employees. The main expense of companies is employee salaries. That's why we reduce this tax, so instead of paying 10%, they only pay 5%. The companies can hire anyone they want, including Russian citizens? Yes, exactly. We realize that the world is hybrid nowadays, and we've already had teams working from other countries. We already have companies that hire people from Belarus, Russia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and even from more distant countries. Russians can enter Kyrgyzstan without a visa or foreign passport, but within 30 days they have to get a temporary registration. At the same time, the authorities decided to alleviate the routine by introducing the famous digital nomad visa. Just recently, due to recent events, our government introduced this initiative. It's a temporary thing, a pilot project, a digital nomad visa which allows expats, including those coming from Russia, to enter Kyrgyzstan and register here almost immediately. They don't need to register at their place of residence. They automatically receive a PIN, personal identification number. They also don't need a work permit in Kyrgyzstan. It's quick and easy for them to open bank accounts, receive services at our Entrepreneurs Center. This gives them the possibility of effortless registration in Kyrgyzstan. How can one get this visa? You can do it very easily online. So I can apply for that visa from Moscow? Yes, sure. Do these benefits only work for companies or also for freelancers? You can work as an individual entrepreneur. This way you will receive the same preferences. So if I register here, I don't have to pay taxes? Well, these are not tax reliefs. The state grants permission. I mean, if you become a resident of the low-tax, high-tech park, can I do it both as an individual entrepreneur and a company? Yes. I become a resident of the park and not pay taxes? Yes. According to 2021 estimates, 5% of Kyrgyzstan population were Russians. It's about 350,000 people. Obviously, the majority are those who remained here after the fall of the USSR. But this year, the country's Russian population grew. At least the locals are sure that the Russians who fled their country are going to stay here. And the Kyrgyz are proud of that. Are there any statistics on how many people actually stayed here after leaving Russia? Most of them stay. Most had not heard much about Kyrgyzstan before. They came here simply because the tickets were cheap. Or they had relatives here. When they arrived in Kyrgyzstan, they realized it's a cool country. The civil society is developing. The infrastructure is good enough to stay. So generally, there are not many people leaving, but there are some. People care not only about the legal status or infrastructure, they also care about the attitude toward them, right? And in Kyrgyzstan, it feels good in this sense. They do not feel Russophobia or any bad attitude. Our people are very hospitable. That's why Russians like being here. People stay in Kyrgyzstan thanks to freedom and democracy, impossible to find in neighboring Asian countries or in Russia. If in a neighboring state all decisions are made in the White House, here the people decide, the people dictate it. Another thing, in the history of the Kyrgyz, women have never worn a burqa. We had traditional Islam. That is why Queen Kirmanjan Datka was elected ruler. And the first female president in Central Asia was Rosa Otunbayeva in Kyrgyzstan. We are proud of it. And the third thing, only nomads have it. The ability to adapt quickly to new conditions. For you not to think that I'm only flattering Kyrgyzstan, let's add some fair criticism. For a country that has technology parks and digital nomad visas, Kyrgyzstan has a very bad internet. The internet, my friends, leaves much room for improvement. Finding good internet is a big problem. The connection is poor, especially on the outskirts of cities. You also shouldn't believe the LTE sign when you see one. The speed can be 5 megabytes or 2 megabytes in the center of Bishkek. Although it says it has full LTE, the internet is very slow, especially if there are many people around. Of course, at night, or 4 in the morning, everything will be fine and it will be fast. But during the day, the network obviously cannot handle so many users. If you heard that Apple decided to open an office in Kyrgyzstan, it isn't true. The company only helped its Russian employees to move to this country. But who needs an Apple office when you have Issyk-Kul, Kolkugur, and other places with names that are difficult to pronounce? Where are we going, boss? Today we are going to cross the Chonkemen Valley and go toward Issyk-Kul through the Koltor Pass. And 300 meters later is the Koltor Lake, or Kol-Kol-Gol, and a sea of emotions. The important thing is the sea of emotions. The last time I was so excited was in Mongolia when our car stopped in the middle of the steppe, and I started to boil. I know what to do if it boils. You have to take the cow's poo, wet it, and put it somewhere there. We have cows there. How much does a ram cost? 15,000. Does he own the entire park? No. He probably works as a chavan, or shepherd. Usually a shepherd collects livestock from a village and takes care of the cattle for 3 months up in the pasture. In turn, the cattle owners pay per head. If it is a cow, 500 sums. And if it's a ram, it's cheaper. It's like a job. This is a Keurig Greyhound dog. The breed is Terran. They are famous for their stamina. They are thin, but muscular. For mountainous areas, they are a perfect breed. They are irreplaceable assistants to the shepherds.
Здрасте. Сколько один як стоит? За сколько продадите?
Hello, how much does a yak cost? I don't know. For how much would you sell it to me? It's not for
За
sale.
мясо.
What benefits do they bring? Wool? No, the meat. So they are for meat. Surely you have already seen the game of Kokbury. That's what they call horse polo. Andre is from the village, and he is part of the Kemen district team. Oh really? So he's a famous athlete? In this area, yes. How much does a yak cost? 60 to 70,000. 60,000. Yes, that is what a young yak costs. An adult would cost much more, but they are mainly used for meat. By the way, in southern part of Kyrgyzstan, people also use yak milk, but here in the north, they are normally used for meat.
Это его бараны или нет?
Он собирает скот со всего села.
И за деньги
These are
пасёк, да?
his rams or not. He collects them from the entire village, and he charges people for that? Yes. Some walk dogs for money, and here they graze rams.
Урмат. Наш местный конюх.
Очень приятно.
Urmat. He is a local ostler. Nice to meet you. Now we're gonna cross the river, Chonkemen, that originates in glaciers, and go down the Chu River, where they merge into one, and the river heads toward Kazakhstan. The border between Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan runs along the Chu River, so one bank of the Chu is Kazakhstan, and the other is Kyrgyzstan. In that sense, the Chu River has strategic significance, and the Chon-Kemen River flows into it.
Переход реки замечательно.
How was crossing the river? The river crossing was
Что-то жрёте?
incredible.
Можно это есть, да? Всё.
She's eating
Меня
something.
только не
Is she
отвязывайте, я
okay?
не хочу, чтобы она меня умчала куда-то.
Please don't untie me. I don't want her to take me away somewhere. Of course we won't.
Озеро Колкогур, или как местные называют Кольтор, озеро завалено.
Kolkogur Lake, or Koltor as the locals call it. This lake was formed as a result of a large rockfall. The depth is approximately 20 meters. Since we are in the Chon-Kemen Valley, I would like to tell you a story. Famous among the local population about the name Chon-Kemen. Locals say that in a time of the Silk Road, when caravans were passing by this place, after they turned to Chon-Kemen, they started losing a caravan each day of the journey, and the word Kemen means less, something becoming less.
караван каждый днем
As the
становился
caravans
все
became
меньше.
less and less as the
Из-за
legend
этого
goes,
такого, сказать, мистического
it happened for a mysterious reason,
явления данное место
and the place got its name like this.
стало так называться.
Вообще, кыргызы очень гордятся своей историей и своим эпосом «Манас», который включен
In fact, Kyrgyz people are very proud of their history and of its epic, Amanas, which, by the way, is mentioned in the Guinness Book of Records and on UNESCO's list of intangible cultural heritage. The Kyrgyz are an indigenous people of Central Asia. It is about 3,000 years old. That's one. Second, they are ancient peoples with their own written language and state. There is the famous Orkhon Yenisei script. It originates from the ancient Kyrgyz. Today, this writing is approximately 1,700 years old. It's proved by the stone sculptures and letters in stone found on the territory of modern Mongolia, modern Russia, modern Kyrgyzstan, and four, the nomadic peoples at the end of the 9th century. In 1847, the Kyrgyz managed to create a powerful state. It was called the Great Kyrgyz Power. Now our army numbers approximately 16,000 soldiers. At the time, there were 100,000. The scientists of that time, specialists in Arabic and Persian, pointed out the unique development of the defense capability of Kyrgyz people. The fifth difference is the vocabulary. The famous scientist and translator, Semyon Lipkin, who lived in Moscow for many years, described the melodic and poetic nature of the Kyrgyz language. In Osegov's dictionary, there are 58,000 words. The Kyrgyz have 117,000 words. For horse breeds only, there are 800 terms. During the Kyrgyz Khaganate, for different types of weapons, there were 220 words. It was a golden era in our history. And the fifth thing was the epic Manas, the great Chingiz Atamov. Chingiz Atamov in the modern world is second only to Shakespeare. Obviously, since Shakespeare wrote English, he had a huge audience. The world has no one like Atamov, who comes from a small nation. There are about 7 million of us, and about 400 million copies of his book were published around the world, in more than 100 languages. What makes the epic of Manas so special? First, it is a living Manas, a living epic poetry. Other epic poems already have an approved version, and no one has the right to correct them, nor introduce new versions, and Manas is like a living tree. Each new Manashi can share their version. Main content remains, but Manas has its own style. The great academician Bekhterev, the head of the Institution of Studying Brain Mental Activities, said that a brain can remember 700,000 pieces of information at the same time. And our great Manashi Sayat Peyrilev could recite epic poetry for 3 days and 8 nights without stopping. There are approximately 1.5 million lines. It is more than the capacity of human memory. In the art of music, there are 7 notes, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si. Russian scientist Vinogradov proved that this Manashi, Sayat Peyrilev, has 27 sounds. The world of music at the moment is not capable of comprehending the peculiarities of Manas. Perhaps we are unable to understand the peculiarities of Manas, just like confirming these words about how unique the Kyrgyz people are, but we can be sure about the beauty of Kyrgyzstan. And I confirm that the nature here is stunning.
Здрасте. Да вы что, а я вас нет.
Hello.
Вы
Oh, we
откуда?
recognized you. I don't recognize you, though. Where are you from?
Да.
We are from
А я-то
Bishkek.
откуда?
Oh, from Bishkek. All right. And you are from Moscow. Yeah. Where are you going now? Back from a festival. Closing of the motorcycling season in Issyk-Kul and Dura, Kyrgyzstan. We reach new lakes every day. new areas together with our group, Matados. Endura Kyrgyzstan, headed by Uncle Yan, Uncle Misha, Aiva, and the other guys. We are training our children. It's a great pleasure to meet you. We are your subscribers.
Откуда едете?
Where are you going now? Back from Issyk-Kul, from the lighthouse. We had a festival at the lighthouse. We decided to come here from there.
Сколько человек у вас в клубе?
How many people are there in your club? About 200.
Ничего себе.
I can't believe it. Some are builders, others are mechanics, others are businessmen. And Endura unites us as motorcycle fans. We are a great family. Welcome to Kyrgyzstan. Welcome to Kyrgyzstan. Subscribe to the channel, put likes, and a bell.
Какой канал?
What channel? Mine, of course.
Варламов, Илья.
Эндуро, Кыргызстан и Варламов.
Все, спасибо.
Thank you.
В общем, горы, красиво, озеро, невероятная природа, нет людей, смотришь, все
Well, the mountains are beautiful. Nature is incredible. There are no people. It looks wonderful, really. But there is a problem. Something you won't find in Iceland, for example. And I traveled all over Iceland. I've never seen rubbish there. Here is not that. I see piles of trash, but people consider it acceptable to leave cans and bottles. They've been here for a while, and they are already rusty. You can see that they put them under a tree very carefully, as if they were Christmas presents. Maybe they're waiting for somebody else to come and clean. It's sad. I think they should send volunteers to pick up the trash. And a second, put a hunter with a gun there, so the next time somebody leaves trash in these spectacular mountains, they'll receive a salt bullet, so they'll know that nature should stay clean. There it is. What's that? There are many cans that have been here for years. It looks like there are old bottles, all that. It's garbage. It's been here for years. It's very sad. Of course, you shouldn't do that. Somebody hung a bag here. Some leftovers in a bag. Maybe it's for animals to eat. I don't know. Some fish. You can see what people were eating here. Another can. And here's someone ate corn. So much rubbish. They don't just leave trash here, they hide it among the trees. There's a lot of vodka here. They could leave it on the trail so it's easier to clean, but they don't do it. No, they hid their garbage like hamsters. Otherwise, everything is beautiful. An amazing path that leads to the pass. What a beauty.
Красота.
Понятно, что в Кыргызстане интереснее всего смотреть на яков, но иногда и коровы занятные попадаются.
Obviously, the most interesting thing in Kyrgyzstan is to see the yaks, but sometimes you also get to see some interesting cows. You press the button, and the green light comes on. However, with this traffic, you can just cross it like this. Let's go see the horses. I can't believe it, there's also a cow here, and some rams. The cow came home, and they won't open the door. How do you know where your house is? She's been living here since her childhood. She knows her home now. So she can find her way home from anywhere? Yes. What if she knocks on someone else's door? No, that won't happen. In the morning, we take 300 cows to the pasture. 300 cows from the entire village? Yes, 300 cows. And in the afternoon, they return home as if they were dogs or cats. They are trained to do it. It's crazy, I know. I knew cows were smart, but not that smart. The other one went in there. And this one lives here. And she won't move now. She will wait for her owner to arrive? Yes. That's amazing.
Вот Итак, минуя умных коров, мы добрались до Иссык-Куля. Помимо невероятной красоты, это озеро известно
After meeting the
своими
smart cows, we have finally reached Issyk-Kul. In addition to their incredible beauty, the lake is also known for its petroglyphs. They are rock carvings left by ancient men. Unfortunately, modern people make them too, but few will consider that of any value. It's incredibly beautiful. The rocks, the pines.
Скалы, сосны. Единственный вопрос у меня возникает к местным жителям. Почему?
My only question to the locals is why do some people write on these rocks and stones? And why there's no punishment for them? These people should be sent to build roads. There are problems with the roads here. If all these dumb people were sent to build roads, Kyrgyzstan would have good roads and clean mountains.
Красивый камень, и тоже какая-то сволочь на нем оставила свою метку. И так вот вдоль всего маршрута.
What a beautiful rock again. Some fool left his mark here. And there are so many of them here. What are these people? Pigs, not people. Why would you do it to a rock in the mountains? Rustam did it. Rustam and Anarsik, locals. Issyk-Kul is the most famous tourist destination in Kyrgyzstan. It has its advantages, such as hostels and restaurants, but also disadvantages. For example, animals here are tortured, just like in Russia and Napa. Don't you fight these animal torturers here? No. I'm talking about those with birds. For us, it's not a problem. So it's okay here. It's part of the tourist attraction. Here come the yaks, look. Oh. This is how cows block the road.
Тебе сколько лет? 14? Ты в школу ходишь? Ходишь?
How old are you?
Завтра пойдешь, да?
14.
В какой класс?
Do you go to school? Yeah. Are you going tomorrow? Yeah.
8 класс.
What grade are you going to? To the 7th.
И ты тоже ходишь в
To
школу.
the 8th. 8th grade?
А сколько лет
Yes.
птице вашей?
And how old are you? 13. Do you also go to
Она так
school?
не улетает у вас,
Yes. And how old is your bird?
да? На веревке.
It's young, 3 months old. Isn't it going to fly away like that? You use a rope.
У вас в школе русский
I
язык
see.
сейчас?
It's a trained bird. If the owner goes there with some meat, it will fly to him. Do they teach you Russian in school? Yes.
Это брат твой,
Then
да?
why doesn't your friend speak it? He speaks. Is it your brother?
Вы вместе учитесь.
He's not my brother. He's my cousin. We study together. You study together, but you speak Russian well, and he doesn't. He speaks it
Чем
too.
будешь заниматься?
What do you want to become when you grow up? We'll see. What do you like to do? Business. Business. What business? Any. I see.
Приехал какой-то мужик, говорит, у меня в
Are you going to
багажнике
stay in
гигантская
Kyrgyzstan or go somewhere else?
орел.
I'm going to
Судя
stay.
по количеству живодеров,
A man came and said he has an eagle in his trunk.
гигантский орел, да.
The number of animal abusers here. Yes,
1,5 года? А где взяли его?
it's a huge
Где
eagle.
взяли? Ну откуда? Поймали?
How old is it?
Здесь?
1.5 years. Where did you find it? Where did you get it from?
И он
Did you
что, в
capture it?
багажнике прямо живет у вас?
Here? In the mountains? Does it really live in your trunk? He doesn't live in the trunk. I work with him. I see. He lives there, where we have a garden. I get it. We get live foxes and rabbits and give it to him so he can eat them.
Понятно.
Here is a rabbit that he ate. Do you want to hold it?
Не-не-не, спасибо.
No,
В
no,
общем,
no,
всё
thank
красиво, но омрачают некоторые моменты, и в первую очередь поведение человека.
Everything is beautiful here, except for some details. First of all, human behavior. In addition to the fact that humans cannot enjoy nature, they always want to make a mess with their names on the rocks, stones, or something else. Frankly, people do not treat nature with much respect. Furthermore, they are abusing animals here. They capture birds in the mountains for tourists, eagles and casual eagles, to take photos with them. Tourists take pictures and pay, and this is their violent business. The bird is in terrible condition.
птица, конечно, находится в ужасных условиях. Вот с орла в багажнике просто в фургоне.
It spends all day in the trunk. The eagle wants to fly freely, but they won't let him. He's on a leash like a dog. It's sad to see how the free animals and free birds are not even useful to humans. They are used only to make money. It's for tourists. So if you see something like this, never take photos. Don't support this business with your money.
Если вы такое видите, никогда не фотографируйтесь, не поддерживайте этот бизнес рублем. Вы скажете: Илья, ты обещал нам рассказывать, какой Кыргызстан чудесный, а сам раскритиковал архитектуру.
You will say, Ayla, you promised to tell us how wonderful Kyrgyzstan is. So far you've only criticized the architecture, parking lots, minibuses, riding on the rocks, and photographers with birds. I will answer that. When you like a place, you want it to become better. And I won't stay silent when I see something that needs to be corrected. Another moment that I want to highlight, when I posted critical notes of Bishkek on my Instagram, people in the comments got very angry. They wrote me, "You're visiting, how dare you to criticize something? It's not okay. A guest should not criticize the host's house. According to Kyrgyz people, I should be happy with everything. Nor should I be outraged by dangerous streets or roads. I think this logic is wrong." You are saying I'm a guest here. First, no one invited me. I arrived on my own. And I've spent quite a bit of money here. So luckily, I don't owe anyone anything. All kinds of criticism that comes from someone from somewhere else, whether it's from the US, London, Singapore, or even Moscow, you can't ignore their remarks.
Его замечания, их можно либо проигнорировать, если вы считаете это глупостью, либо наоборот принять их к сведению и учесть некоторые моменты.
If you think they're wrong, or you can think about it and take it into account, because some things can only be seen from a distance, and the local population, as often happens, doesn't notice such things. That's why I think some criticism and a view from afar may be very useful. So criticism is a gift. By the way, there is a book named like this. Well, it talks about business, but still it might work for urban areas too. Any criticism should be perceived as a gift, because any working with the reviews of the people who come to your city, you can make your city better. But criticizing is unpleasant. So you have to take a break to eat delicious Kyrgyz food. We arrive at a traditional place where the people who are going to visit Issyk-Kul stop to eat. Here the local population started cooking local bread. They are called katama. All the guests love them. Many stop here to try our traditional bread and tea. We can say it's a traditional dish. Bread with tea. Bread, tea with milk, and boiled eggs. They don't really serve anything else here, but that's good enough, trust me.
Как у вас торговля?
How's it going? Good, good.
Жалобы есть?
How's your mood? Any complaints? No. The Kyrgyz are great. They have no complaints.
В таком красивом месте живете.
What could we complain about?
Чай сколько стоит у вас?
Yes, you live in such a beautiful place. How much does it cost? A pot? Yeah. 70 to 80.
Много людей?
With milk. Are there any people here now? Yes, mainly Russians. Russians? Why Russians? Many Russians arrived here lately? Yes. Are they welcome here? Yes, we welcome them with tea, katama, kaimak.
Здрасте.
Hello. For katama, we make bland dough without yeast. We roll it out like this.
Сметана, растительное масло.
We mix it with cream and vegetable oil. Cream and vegetable oil? Here's the cream, and here's the vegetable oil. We mix it. We put it here rolled up like this. Then we let it rest for half an hour. Or an hour. You can start cooking.
А потом просто на сковороде жарите.
You fry it in a pan? Yes. The dough is ready. It's rested now. We are taking it out to immediately roll it out. We put a little oil so that it does not burn.
То есть как блин фактически, да?
Да. Чуть-чуть тоже сюда масло. Чуть-чуть наливаем.
It's like a crepe, right?
С этой стороны.
Yes, we add a little bit more oil here and re-roast it on the other side. And we put jars on top to make it even. So they squeeze it like this. Yes, this is the secret of your success. Look, at rice is like this. It's puff pastry.
Из России много?
Do you have a lot of customers now?
Туристы или кто переехал?
Yes, we have many. Mostly from Russia, Russians and some tourists. Tourists or those who moved here forever. We have some Hindu tourists, but also people from Russia, Kazakhstan. Now I'm gonna serve you the ones that are already done. This is the katama. Here it is, ready from both sides. We drink tea from a samovar.
Судя по запаху, вы на угле, да?
From the smell, I guess you are making it on coals. Yes, look here.
И это тульский. А старый какой-то или новый? Ага. 325
Samovars
лет.
come from Tula. This one too? Yeah. Are they old or new? They're ancient. It says here. So these are Soviet samovars. Yes, they are very old. We use them for tea. How much do you earn a month, if I may ask? It depends on how many people come. How much is it normally?
И на эти деньги можно
About
жить.
10,000 to 20,000 per month.
Кто-то помогает вам?
And can you live with this money? Yes, it's possible.
Нет?
Does anyone help you in some way? The state, perhaps?
Еще налоги
No, the
платите?
state does not help in any way. We live on our own and pay the tax. You pay taxes. How much?
То есть из 10 из 20
2.5 a month.
2,5 вы отдаете.
So, out of 10 to 20,000, you pay 2,500 to the state. Yes. And they give you nothing in return? No, no preferences or anything.
Если не хотите обидеть или задеть местных, то лучше говорить
Remember, if you don't want to
Кыргызстан,
offend or annoy the
соответственно,
locals, it's better to say Kyrgyzstan than
Можно ли
Kyrgyzstan
говорить
and
киргиз
Kyrig,
через
not Kyrigs.
Можно.
Can I say Kyriz if I speak in Russian? Yes, but we
Это
prefer
обижает, когда говоришь
Kyrigs.
киргизский.
It makes us happy. And if you say Kyriz, it is wrong a little bit. Is it offensive? It depends on the person. Not everyone is going to be upset. Some will be understanding. But the main thing is human relationships.
Да.
In English, the word Kyrig isn't pronounced correctly either. Not even Turkish reflect our soul when they're Kyrig equivalent. This word has several meanings. It means conscious of the tribes, invincible people, the people who live in the hills. There are several interpretations, but everything suits us.
Такой вышла моя новая поездка к непоколебимому народу, который живет на высоких холмах.
This
Я
was my
надеюсь, что
journey to meet the
Кыргызстан
invincible
будет
people
дальше
who live in high
развиваться.
hills.
Станет новой Кремниевой
I hope
долиной.
Kyrgyzstan continues its development. Their IT park becomes a new Silicon Valley, and only the royal petroglyphs will remain by the beautiful lake in Issyk Kul. Upload this video to Reddit or share the link with your friends on WhatsApp.